Hey everyone, as we prepare for night 13 of the Premier League, where we actually will have fans back in the building, I will give my predictions and also give my thoughts on who I think is going to get to the playoffs on the Friday. Getting ready for day 13. I will give my predictions. Just a couple thoughts first on the fans. So I believe 1,000 fans are allowed in. It's going to be fantastic. And if you think about this weekend in terms of sports, for me, it's been pretty good. Let's disregard the Thursday Montreal Leaf game. Saturday, obviously the Leafs played much better. I'm getting ready for that game today. It's a long weekend in Canada, and in Ontario we were actually allowed to golf yesterday, and I stepped onto a golf course and hit a couple golf balls, not to success, but it was certainly nice to be outdoors and playing some rounds of golf. Also Phil Mickelson winning the PGA Championship at 50, that's insane. So it's been a really great sports weekend, but we'll finish it off tonight with watching Premier League for the afternoon for me, and then the Leafs in Montreal play tonight, and they also play Tuesday night. So it's going to be an interesting day of sports. Really looking forward to it. But first of all, let's go through the darts. Fans back, and I think that's fantastic. 1,000 fans. You would think that that's going to be a little bit different. I know we've seen fans with 450 at the World Championship for one round and the European Championship, although it still sounded like a cauldron in there. They had a small amount of fans. I don't know if it was 250 or 500 or whatever it was, but the 1,000 fans, that's going to be some fans. Allowed to dress up, going to make some noise. And I think, will they have an effect on the darts players? I think they will. I think, I'm not into this where, some of the younger players like Dimitri Vandenberg, who's played well without fans. He played well with fans when they were there, so I don't see him stepping off. If you take a look at his floor game versus his stage game, typically his stage game is way better where you have fans, and floor game where you don't have fans is not as good, not as consistent, although he did pick up win in the last Super Series. But I think about the players that's going to affect the most, I think it will affect Peter Wright. I think it'll affect Michael Van Gerwen in the positive. They thrive off this stuff, especially like a Peter Wright. You think about Peter Wright coming in here, going to have to play a spoiler role for the next four games. But something like a crowd is going to get him going. It's going to get the adrenaline pumping, and hopefully he can pick one set of darts and go. But I know Peter, he'll bring up 3 sets of darts and change them mid-match and still lose, but I think that'll affect him. Someone's not going to affect at all, meaning the game's not going to change, is James Wade. I don't even think he cares if fans are in. It's not going to affect him either way. It's not a positive, not a negative. I'm not saying it's a negative thing to James Wade, even though I don't like him. It's just not going to affect him. I think if you asked all the 8 players remaining, if you have fans back, do you really care? I don't think he does. So it's not going to affect him. The negative, I'm thinking a couple players that are a little bit slower. Jose De Souza, could it affect him? Yeah, maybe. That's the first time you're playing in front of fans in quite a while. He does hit a lot of 180, so he'll get the fans behind him. He does the miscount, so the fans will be getting on that as well. Yeah, I know they talked about Dimitri Vandenberg being someone who's going to, with his slow play. I don't see it. He's not that slow of a player. So I don't think it'll affect him. Gary Anderson, they love Gary Anderson. It's going to help him. Aspinall. So at the end of the day, I don't think there's anyone going to be negatively affected because fans are in the building. But it's certainly going to be more enjoyable to watch. There's absolutely no doubt about that. That's going to be fantastic. And maybe they can be so loud that I don't have to hear the Chihuahua do his rah nonsense as he takes out a 5. But let's go through the matches today and my predictions, and then I'm going to give the top 4, who I think the top 4 will be with the points going through the next 4 matches, and then give a little bit of the reasoning why. So let's start off first game up, Johnny Clayton, Gary Anderson. Gary Anderson finished off ball on fire, and I think if it continued the next night instead of a 2-week break, I think he would have beat Johnny Clayton. I just think, I don't know if Gary Anderson in practice. He probably went fishing or whatever he does. And I think he'll come back a little bit stale. I think it's a really, really big game, especially for Johnny Clayton. Gary Anderson's got to do some work. He's got to get at least, 6 points out of the next games. I don't think he'll do it. I'll get to my predictions afterwards. But for Johnny Clayton, He's 14 points. He's in 5th place. He's only in 5th place because of leg difference. I think he's going to be fired up, and I think he'll do well. And I think, again, with a crowd, maybe it affects Johnny Clayton. I don't think so, though. He's a pretty steady player. He's not an emotional player. He's not going to get affected by anything. So I'm going to say that this is going to be a draw. So it's going to be a kissing your cousin kind of thing. 7-7, give 1 point each. Next matchup, I think, will be a fantastic match. Jose De Souza, Dimitri Van den Bergh. My concern with Jose is the fact that he just gives up points. This man should already be on 17 points. He should be tied with Michael Van Gerwen in the league. And that's just not giving up points. He handed the points to other people, and it's going to cost him. I think it's going to make it really, really tight at the top. He should be at 17 points right now. Dimitri Van den Bergh scoring fantastic. These are two fantastic scorers. I think it'll be a great game. Obviously, Jose needs it a little bit more than Dimitri Van den Bergh in my mind. But the one thing that Jose has is a really nice leg advantage. So I think it'll be a good game, but I'm going to take Jose De Souza to win this one 8-5. The next game up, Michael Van Gerwen against Nathan Aspinall. This is where I will share with you. Aspinall's in a tough spot. This is not the one you want to start off with the crowd back. You're going to think Michael Van Gerwen hasn't stopped practicing, hasn't stopped going. Now, maybe he puts more pressure on himself with the fans coming in. Maybe. But he's going to want to put on a show. And, of course, Aspinall's going to feed off the crowd, too. He's going to want the win. He's going to need it. I just think Michael Van Gerwen, he's very inconsistent. So it's tough to pick Michael Van Gerwen matches, but I'm going to take Michael Van Gerwen to win this one 8-4. In the last match, this is where I talk about Peter Wright being, the person who's going to come in and be the spoiler. And I think this is a perfect game for him to be a spoiler. James Wade, not going to be affected by crowd. He'll go up, he'll throw his darts. Peter Wright's probably, I'm hoping anyways. I know I've heard maybe, in a personal situation, his wife might be having surgeries, or he's got some concerns on the home front, which is always not good when you're going to bring that into a darts game. But, his problem isn't that. His problem is changing darts. Just throw one set of darts for 4 days. Like, just do it. Even if you suck, just throw the same darts for 4 days. Pick one and go with it. And hopefully if you pick one, you pick the World Championship ones, or you pick the ones you won the European Championship with. Those are the ones you win. I've never seen you win a tournament with the other darts. I've seen you win plenty of tournaments with those darts. So he hopefully picks it. I think he'll want to put on a show for the crowd. He'll be the one that, getting the crowd going. He's a crowd favorite. He'll certainly have the crowd behind him. Someone like James Wade is not going to have the crowd behind him, but again, I don't think he cares. At the end of the day, I like Peter Wright to win this one. Be a spoiler. I think he'll stop James Wade's chances. Now, there is a chance. James Wade, if you take a look at his 4 matches, he has a chance to win all 4. There is absolutely no doubt he could win all 4 and sneak in with 20 points. I just don't see it, but it's not out of the realm of possibility for sure. Wade is, he's got a pretty nice setup to get in. If he does take Peter Wright, for some reason, there's something nagging in my brain that Peter Wright's going to win this one. And I think he'll also spoil someone else's campaign, so we'll just hold on to that for just a second. But I like Peter Wright to win this one 8-5. Now, overall, what I've done is taken a look at the fixtures and how I think the places will go. And here's my predictions for that. So I see MVG being on top. I've got him getting 6 out of 8 points in the next 4 matches. So I got him at 23 points, winning the league, getting the top place in the league, and getting into the playoffs, where I hope he loses. But I'm going to see. I don't see him not beating Aspinall today. Yeah, he's got Peter Wright. He's got I think Jose De Souza coming up. So I like Michael Van Gerwen to get to 23 points. Then the second place, it's going to be really, really tight. I think your second to 4th place will all be on 19 points based on what I just saw, or what I've seen in terms of my predictions for the fixtures. First one, going to be leg difference, is going to be Jose De Souza. So I see Jose De Souza getting 5 points out of the 8, especially with the win today. Now, if he loses today, that's going to make it tough, because then I only see him getting 3 points past that and ending up on 17 points. So, but I like his leg difference too. 17 points might be enough with that leg difference. But I see Jose De Souza getting 5 points over the next 4 matches and ending up with 19 points. Next one up, Dimitri Van den Bergh. I see the same. I see him get 4 points over the next 4 matches. He'll win the last 2, I believe, to get in. and he'll end up with 19 points as well. Leg difference wise will put him in third place. And the last spot, this is one that the announcers aren't going with, but I don't see why you don't. Obviously, it's going to be a tight. You got Gary Anderson, who's got a chance. You got Wade, who's got a chance to get on a run. You know, Nathan Aspinall's already there with 15 points, but Johnny Clayton, like, someone's forgot about Johnny Clayton. He's on 14 points. His leg difference isn't the greatest, but I still see him getting 5 points over the next 3 matches, which will leave him on 19 points. So the top 4 would be, in my prediction, Michael Van Gerwen 1, Josie D'Souza 2, Dimitri Vandenberg 3, and Johnny Clayton 4, which means Nathan Aspinall would be the one that misses out, who's currently in the top 4. I see him getting 2 points over the next games. He's got some tough matches, starting off with Michael Van Gerwen. And I don't like him against James Wade at all. And I like him to get Gary Anderson. And then I don't think he wins the last match. So I see him ending up on 17 points. The next one, it's between Peter Wright, Gary Anderson, and James Wade for who wins what we refer to as the A-Hole Cup. And I think at the end of the day, it's going to be tight. I've got Peter Wright at 15 points, Gary Anderson at 14, and Wade at 14. So, again, it's going to be, I don't think Gary Anderson's going to have this great, miraculous run through. I know he had 2 great games at the end. He'll get going maybe at the end of the week and grab a couple points, but I don't see him starting off. Again, now watch, he smokes Clayton, and this all changes. But as I know it now, prediction-wise. The other one that's going to be a little surprising, Aspinall. Now, I'll tell you why I'm not leaning on Aspinall. I've been tracking the scoring, 180s, 140s, but I'm also looking at the 60s. How many 60s you throw in your first 9 darts. And so to give you an example of how it worked, it's kind of a nice prediction right now so far. The 2 top players that do not hit 60%, so the lower the percentage of hitting 60 in your first 9 darts, the better, obviously, is Dimitri Vandenberg and Michael Van Gerwen. And where are they? They're on the top of the league. If you look at the first set of games before the elimination, the 2 worst were Rob Cross and Glenn Durrant. They're at home. Right now, in the next couple matches of games, the next 2 lowest scores are Peter Wright and Nathan Aspinall. So I don't like seeing Aspinall get in. If I take a look at someone like Josie D'Souza, Johnny Clayton, consistent. But in terms of percentage-wise, if I take a look, Peter Wright's at 24.62% of the time he hits a 60 in his first 9 darts. So that's, 1 every 4 visits or whatever it might be. And Nathan Aspinall's at 24.35%. Compare that to someone like Michael Van Gerwen, 19.59, or Johnny Clayton, 20.54. Obviously, the scoring is an issue. Aspinall hits big scores, but he also hits the 60s. You can't, in this kind of short format, you can't get away with that. So, some of the reasons why I'm leaning that way. So, hopefully everyone enjoys the darts. I'll be watching. I'll do a video afterwards to see how I did in terms of predictions. And then we'll talk about day 14 and then continue on for the series again. Really looking forward to it. It's going to be fantastic. Crowd's back. Let's enjoy some sports today. Cheers.